Hey there, my name is Emily Branch. I am a former public school teacher who taught in the communist state of California. Since quitting my job and moving to Texas, I am in love with homeschooling ex-public school teacher. I have two girls. One is in first grade and one is only four, well, almost four, and is still not in school, but excited about it. In another video, I'm going to explain why all the rumors about California and public education are true. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the curriculum that we have been using since we started homeschooling in kinder, because I would never send my kids to public school ever. And why we still use it, and kind of like why I like using it as opposed to more popular curriculums that I've researched but truly don't understand the appeal. So I'll talk about language arts and why we don't really fit into a box. Like all the books I read have different homeschooling pedagogy boxes: Charlotte Mason, classical, eclectic, Waldorf, none of that. And I think most homeschooling people would agree that maybe you start off with something that you like, or see that, wow, this is really amazing. But then when you start to actually teach your child and really sort of understand how you work as a teacher and how your kid works as a learner, you change. So we're going to start off with something that I've seen videos about, and people like it. I absolutely love it. I think that this is a really good curriculum, and if you are truly dedicated to writing out homeschooling for the foreseeable future, this is a very strong foundation. It is extremely phonics based. It is not sight word or whole word focused like most public schools are. I've read studies and researched, and a lot of whole-based instruction uses the right side of the brain versus the left, and therefore kids are just learning to memorize words instead of learning how to decode them and understand the rules for reading. So we started off with level 1, but we're now on level 2. In kindergarten, I was teaching at a homeschool charter, so my girls were in my daughter's old preschool. So we couldn't do this every day because twice a week I was visiting my families, and I couldn't, working and doing that, I just couldn't do it. So it took us a while to get through level 1, and it was painfully slow. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a curriculum where it's very different than most public schools, where they get word lists and they have to memorize 500 words by the end of first grade, and that's just insane. Memorization doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for my daughter. But we use All About Reading, and we're in level 2, and we started level 2 in January, and this is March 18th, and we're, a third of the way done. I think the foundation is amazing. And I don't know if this is other people's experience, but it was my experience. The first book is, it goes slower. And once you get used to the fact that your child is going to want to sound out everything, then, once you deal with that, you're like, okay, I can do this. Things I love about All About Reading: it is completely laid out everything you need to say. There is no problem with knowing what you need to teach, when you need to teach it. And they have a great Facebook group if you have questions. I will say the only thing that aggravates me about this is if you are looking to save money and buy a used version, if you get a color reader or you have a color teacher's guide, but you buy old readers because they're, obviously cheaper, they're going to be missing stories, especially in the What Am I reader. So I ended up having to pay full price. But the flip side is everything can be used for my younger daughter, so I don't really care. The stories are amazing. I will go into more detail about my drama with picking readers because they're horrid and the levels don't match up to what kids would actually be able to read at certain levels. So in the second book, what I am seeing is it's starting to teach really how to break up words by syllables. It's teaching more of the rules of reading, whereas the first book was really heavy into decoding, which is great because there's still that in here. And there's fun games. The fluency charts are good, a little bit tedious, but good. And I'll share how I motivate my daughter. I do think that the readers are absolutely the best readers on the planet. They've got beautiful illustrations and pictures. And they're just easy to read. The stories are really great. And it's really hard to find stories that are fun and emotional. My daughter gets really invested in these, and I enjoy them too. They've got fun topics. They're just beautiful. And I know that Sarah Mackenzie on Read Aloud Revival recommends these, even if you're not doing the program. And I absolutely would agree. If you're not doing the program, these are definitely worth it. So even though I believe that you should do the program, these are totally worth it just for the books. So for All About Reading, I will do a more detailed post on that and link below. But I also just want to go briefly through some of the other stuff that we've been using. From the beginning, I've been using Explode the Code. And this is so insanely, amazingly cheap and awesome. I can't recommend it enough. Explode the Code is wonderful because it's actually something your daughter or son could do completely separate from you. It's totally independent work. And I feel like until a kid is a really solid reader, you really need to be able to be with them and teach them how to read. But Explode the Code is fantastic because your kids can basically do the work on their own. I think that it's a phonics-based approach. It's got really fun activities. My daughter really enjoys it. We started doing this again daily, and she enjoys it. I think it's great for her handwriting. If you can see, she's a lefty, so that's been kind of fun because some of the times she just forms words or letters, and I'm just like, okay, that's not right, but we'll go over that later. This is really great. It follows the same approach as All About Reading. It's not exactly like, I know that other people use it with it, but it's not the exact same program, but it still works really well. Some pages are a little bit messier than others, but overall, there's a little bit of handwriting in here, which is great. It's not going to teach like grammar or anything, but what I've noticed though is that it does help her with spelling, which is fantastic. So we are starting spelling next year in second grade. There's no reason to do it in first. There really is no reason to focus on language arts until a child is a good reader, because there's so much decoding that's going on. It's impossible to encode much until you have good fluency. So Explode the Code is great. They have a get set for the code, which is what I use for my preschooler. I used it for Maggie before she started kindergarten, and I just ordered it for my littlest one. And get set for the code, it's like a primer. So there's 3. My third book, there's A, B, and C. My third book is back ordered, but that's okay because there's no way she's not starting until next year. And I got these on sale, so we have time. But the great thing about their preschool one is it has fun activities. There's no finding which one's different than the rest. You'll be writing out simple words. It's early sounds, which is great. And let's see, what else do we have that's kind of fun? It has letter formation. We use a separate curriculum for that, and I'll do a video on that. And then it's just really great because it has, follow the path, and that's an essential skill. There's obviously lines and shapes that kids develop before they're even ready for writing. And we're a firm believer that it's better to be late than early in this house. So we makes Explode the Code. There are many different levels, and we plan to continue doing it. And then this is something, sorry, that's my husband. This is something that we just started this year. It's called Gentle Grammar. Gentle Grammar is made by a woman at momsdelights.com who is fantastic, a great resource. She basically collected this from C.C. Long, and this is much older than 21st century, but it's beautiful. So they basically took the curriculum and they adapted it into a modern book. Now, I definitely do not think at my daughter's age, this is something she could do independently. I sit with her and we just do half a page twice a week. I don't feel the need to do a whole page. It's great because it's really simple. It's not just like teaching, punctuation. This is a period. This is a comma. This is when you use them. It doesn't even mention that. I feel it's a more holistic and natural way of teaching a child to write and construct sentences. It's very slow paced, it's perfect. It's gentle. It's a gentle way of introducing grammar. So in the beginning, she's just answering some simple questions. I added the little lines because she still needed some practice. There is a tool that's like a stamper where it just rolls and it makes these dotted lines, and it's been out of stock, but I would love to get it. So it teaches simple things like is and are statements, and in questions, and it's just, it's pretty simple, I like the approach. I think it's fantastic. We are definitely taking our time with this, and I find it's great for just simple sentence development. I think it's made her more confident. She likes to create little books sometimes. So this equips her with the confidence she needs to do that. However, at this age, I don't feel editing is necessary, but with this book, I do sit with her because I think it is important for her to understand grammar. But if she's doing creative writing, I don't care. I find that's more important at this particular phase, to allow her to create and draw and do whatever and get her ideas on a page. And so the very last book that we've been doing this year for, I guess, our language arts, which is kind of separate than the read alouds we've been doing, is something we started with when I first taught her to write. I am a massive fan of this. It is the Learning Without Tears or Handwriting Without Tears curriculum. We bought the kit when I first started working with her in letter formation, and I cannot say enough amazing things about this. I love the approach. I find it's great because it just touches on different modalities. Your children are using chalk to write letters, and they're using stamps and putting pieces of wood together, and then the books, the handbooks that they have, they teach them using really great words and illustrations and working in boxes. So I found it fantastic. This one is their first book, I believe, in the Building Writers series. And again, it's not like a grammar book, but it teaches her how to put together a sentence. And that's really all I want in first grade. I like how they incorporate the ability for pictures to be drawn. This one was the topic she was learning about informative writing. And so her topic was Elsa and Anna, because we are Frozen fans, are getting ready for school. So she had to write down first, and then next, and then last. Now, I was a former art teacher, so I'm sitting here looking at her pictures, and actually I was more impressed by the pictures than the writing, because the fact that she could get foreshortening and somewhat one-point perspective down, and I've never talked about about that, impressed me a lot. She is just, I don't know if she's gonna be an artist. I don't know what God has for her. I'm just enjoying watching all of this. And then I liked that she was able to even do more writing. 3 things I like about Barbie dolls. I just can't. I can't. They're fantastic. But the books are great because it talks about different forms of writing, and then it gives your kids great sentence strand starters. And the pictures are easy, and it's a good size. I think this is just really great for beginning writers. Again, like the gentle grammar, this is nothing huge. We probably do gentle grammar twice a week. We do learning the building writers twice a week, but we do reading every single day. And I will mention that even though I love the readers that come with All About Reading, I do require my daughter on the days that she doesn't have a book in her reader, we also read other books because she should be looking at words every day and sounding them out. And then finally, I'm going to talk about our math curriculum. This is in no way an exhaustive video at all. And if you are interested in more, please let me know. I'm just doing this because I want to help people. I am a firm believer in homeschooling. I'm a firm believer that anyone can do it. And I'm living proof that, well, maybe not living proof. I was an educator who bought into the lie that only people with 4-year degrees can teach kids. I'm here to tell you, you can do it. If you can read, you can teach, and you can do it way better than public school can. Trust me. I'll go over that. So what we use for math, we use Math UC. And this is the alpha level. It is basic addition and subtraction. This is a mastery-based program, much like All About Reading is. So if you are really used to public school and just, exposure and lots, going shallow with lots of things instead of diving really deep, this is probably not going to be something that works out for you. I happen to absolutely love it. I've looked and tried other curriculums when we first started out, and I was just like, ugh, it's all over the place. And that's my number one issue with most curriculums that seem to be embraced by the populace. I guess, I don't know. I'm sort of doing my own thing and against the general flow, but I really feel like when your kid is little, you need to set up a very firm foundation and not focus on too many things. It's just, it's too much stimulus. And as one of my professors called it in my credential program, you're taxing the P, which is cognitive overload. This is definitely not cognitive overload. It is very simple. Okay, no, maybe not that page. This was a page where my daughter, of course I would open up to that page. This is a page where my daughter colored something, and those are her favorite ones, so the enrichment activities. So how it works is it comes with a DVD, and Mr. Demi is on it. We love Mr. Demi. My daughter is hopeful that someday she can be in one of his videos as one of his students. And every week, every Monday usually, we start out and we watch the DVD lesson, and then the rest of the week is divided into A, B, C, D, E, F. So for about 3 days, we do the lesson that he taught, and then the last 3 worksheets are they're like cumulative review of everything you've learned. So in this particular lesson, you're only doing addition and subtraction. You are really mastering the facts, and I cannot tell you how important that was because I taught middle school, and I can basically say about 50% of the kids couldn't add, couldn't subtract, couldn't do multiplication. They just couldn't do it. So it's something that severely is lacking in public school. But let me flip my camera and show you. Maybe that's not right. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to do this. This is my first video, and my kids are asleep finally. So I'll just show it to you, and it will be fine. Sorry for the faux pas. Okay, so this page, this is where the cumulative review is. And I can go back and start 4A. Okay, so this is really early in the program. So this would be what you would do the first day. And we just do 1 page, take something back a day. Then you get to the cumulative review, okay? And then there's an application enrichment. Some of these we don't do. Most of the time we do them, but this particular week we didn't do it. Now with this curriculum, after you've done the week, you do the test booklet. And of course, I did not know what to expect with the test booklet. I'm not a big tester. Like, I don't push it. I figure I know my kid. She's practicing. If she can do math, I'm gonna know. So for the test booklets, we do the test, but I let her use the blocks. In the beginning, I didn't let her use the blocks, and I was expecting her to absolutely 100% know how to do in her head, and that was just disastrous. It didn't work for us. So I asked my friend who used it, and she said, we let them use the blocks. I'm like, sounds good to me. And it's been smooth sailing. And she ended up learning her addition facts, and we're doing subtraction. So clearly it worked. I think that this is a great program. If you have a child and you just don't want them to get distracted, it takes us less than, I don't know, some days take longer, but usually less than 10 minutes a day, which is great because reading is a little bit more, for us, reading's a little bit more work. But that just might be the nature of math and reading and language arts at this age. I am really happy with it. We ordered the next level. My daughter loves it. And we're gonna finish early. It is, I think I did the math, and we're going to finish probably 3 weeks ahead, 3 weeks before the end of school. And so then what we do is we just work on little workbooks, and then I wouldn't say that I'm a full year-round homeschooler, but in the summer, instead of school every day, we have school 3 days a week. And we just do review during the summer and extra practice. And if there was something that I don't feel like she had enough practice in during the school year or wasn't addressed, we do it during the summer. So one thing I will say about this curriculum for Matthew C, when they say single digit addition and subtraction, they absolutely 100% mean it. We did place value at the beginning, which is very important, but there is nothing else in there. There's a teeny bit of time, but it's very simple. You're not going to be doing graphing. You're not going to be doing any sort of basic geometry, shapes, any of that. So if you want to do some of that, which I like it, I think it's great. We just buy little workbooks, and then we add that in more in the summer. So this is just a basic of what we've been doing this year. And then, I mean, if there's interest, I get a lot of questions, and I just thought this would be really easy. I've had friends who, I guess, they're sort of like, you're a public school teacher and you left and you're a homeschooling parent. So it's kind of like a weird paradigm. And then since moving to Texas, people are always like, oh my God, you escaped California and you taught in the school system and you're a homeschooling advocate? And I'm like, basically, yes. It's fantastic. So if you have any questions, just, I don't know, get a hold of me, DM me, PM me, text me. Don't call me because I never have my phone on because someone's always going to sleep in my house. I hope that you like this, and I'm looking forward to sharing more stuff with you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.